Welcome to the 2022 Hatfield's Candidates Forum. I'm Joe LaValle, your town moderator. Each year, this program is intended to give candidates a chance to inform town members of their platform, position, and intentions if elected. This is to educate, not separate. Many towns have seen fewer contested races and fewer younger people running for positions. However, this seems to be changing. You need to encourage more participation for those that do have interest. You might just enjoy the chance to make a difference and continue this tradition. I find it so positive when people show interest. The past 2+ years have been very difficult to everyone globally. The disruptions and absolute need for safety has been especially challenging and will continue to be for some time to come. We still need to be careful, yet have hope that we're getting better at learning to live with this. We found ways to hold town meeting and elections that allowed us to move forward in a safe manner during a very difficult time, using creative thinking by some and patience and understanding by all. Just a reminder for newer townspeople, there's a drive-up box on the side of Town Hall for your convenience. Just drop your envelope with the department or name it's intended for, and it'll be collected a few times a day. Many aren't aware of this, especially for those that the timing of their day is not so easy matching up with town hall hours. Now, a little about our town. The population of Hatfield is 3,200 residents with just 2,400 registered voters. We occupy about 16 square miles. We have one of the smallest and finest independent public school systems in the state, as well as some of the best farmland on the East Coast. We were settled in 1661, and we follow what's called open town meeting, which is our form of governance using town rules since 1670, when our first town meeting was held just over 350 years ago. To learn more about our town, please go to Hatfield's various website pages. A lot of our history is well documented and continually added to. The contested positions up for election this year are on the school committee. There are 2 positions, a 2- and a 3-year term. The Board of Health, a 3-year term, and the Planning Board, a 5-year term. They are as follows. On the school committee, 2 positions. Danielle Staniszewski and Adam Sullivan are running for the 3-year position. Kathy Engelhardt is running for the 2-year position. On the Board of Health, a 3-year term. Dr. Bob Mosley is running for re-election, and Dr. Timothy Menz is running for the position as well. On the Planning Board, a 5-year term. David Bell is running for the position, as well as Virginia Martell. Now for the uncontested positions. On Cemetery Commission, a 3-year term. Bob Flaherty Jr. is running for re-election. On the Board of Selectmen, a 3-year term. Diana Zinel is running for re-election. For the elector under the will of Oliver Smith, a 1-year term, Lydia Zish is running for a return of this 1-year position. On the Board of Assessors, a 3-year term. Stanley Pitchko is up for re-election. And Library Trustee, another 3-year term. Amy Goklowski is running for re-election. The Redevelopment Authority, a 5-year term. There's an opening for this position with no candidates. So if you have an interest, please consider being a write-in candidate. Write-ins are always welcomed, allowed, and accepted. Now there's one ballot question this year. Shall the town of Hatfield be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called the amounts required to pay for the bond issue in order to pay for the wastewater plant upgrades and improvements project? This will be discussed at town meeting as well. To the candidates, we thank you for your commitment and candidacy to our town government. It's your participation that makes our town operate at its best. It's most welcome and greatly appreciated. Lastly, I'd like to again thank John Novak for putting this forum together each year for us to better know our candidates. Now here are the statements from some of the candidates running for the various boards and offices that chose to do so.
Hi there, my name is Timothy Menz, and I'm running for the Hatfield Board of Health. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me. I moved to Hatfield in July of this past year, and I live on Bridge Street with my beautiful wife, 4 wonderful children, and my incredibly kind and thoughtful mother-in-law. I'm the youngest of 5 children and was born and raised in Massachusetts. My father worked 2 jobs growing up. He was a sheet metal mechanic during the day and a silk screener at night. So he really showed me and my siblings the value of hard work. My mom stayed at home and took care of us during the day while my dad was working. I attended public school throughout my entire childhood. And with some hard work and some perseverance and a little bit of luck, I was able to attend medical school at UMass in Worcester. So that was a phenomenal experience. So why vote for me for Board of Health? Why me? Prior to medical school, I spent some time in India as a Fulbright Fellow through the U.S. Department of State, where I studied infant mortality in the urban cities of Delhi and Mumbai, as well as the rural villages of West Bengal and Maharashtra. It's there where I just developed a whole new perspective on life, the way, disease surveillance and community wastewater systems and sanitary health conditions affect, transmission of disease as well as long-term health outcomes. From that experience, I knew I wanted to work with children, and am now fortunate enough to be a practicing physician at Bay State Health, board certified in general pediatrics and pediatric gastroenterology. So I do get to make a lot of poop jokes, so that's fun. And my kids also get to call me Poop Doctor, so that's also fun. But I'm passionate about evidence-based medicine and public health. I'm also a regular guy. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a Hatfield resident. I feel that my strong background in medicine, specifically intestinal immunity and foodborne illnesses, makes me an ideal candidate for the Hatfield Board of Health. So please consider voting for me on Tuesday, May 17th, and hope to see you at the polls. Have a great day.
Hello, Hatfield voters. It's great to be back once again to ask for your vote on May 17th for my current seat on school committee. In 2019, I was elected for my first 3 years as an elected official. What a 3 years I picked, huh? It's been great. It's certainly been an experience, but I am excited to continue to keep going. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Danielle Staniszewski. I live over here on Main Street in Hatfield with my wonderful husband, Jonathan Staniszewski, and our 4 beautiful children. Brooke is in 4th grade, Faith is in 2nd, Johnny is in 1st, and Jimmy is headed off to preschool in the fall. I also serve on the Hatfield Recreation Committee as their chair. I have joined the Community Preservation Committee as the rec representative. What an honor and eye-opening experience that's been. I'm committed to this town, our community, and our children. They are our future. I consider myself very blessed to live in this small town, and I truly want to see this town be the best that it can be. Over the past 3 years, COVID has rocked our world. For our children, it's been extremely challenging. Remote learning, isolation, face coverings, fear. It's not been great on their minds. Our administration and teachers are working endlessly to get these kids back to where they need to be. Throughout the pandemic, I have fought hard for these kids. I have fought to get them back to in-person learning. I have fought to allow the children to choose to wear a mask or not to wear a mask, and I have fought to allow them to play sports. We are still paying very close attention to the children's safety through programs such as pooled testing, at-home COVID-19 testing kits, and detailed cleaning in the buildings. But I am very happy to report we are also moving back to what we knew as normal. We are in school every day, all day. Families have the freedom to choose what is right for their families in regards to masking. And our weeks are full of sporting events again. It's time to look to the future. It's time to mend things that have been put back on the back burner. It's time to get Hatfield back to where it used to be. We have a lot of work to do. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. But I do think that we have the right people in place right now to do that. Over the past 3 years, we have hired a new superintendent, a new principal for both the elementary and Smith Academy, and a new special ed director. We have the right players in place, both in administration and our current school committee. We are all committed to making our little district the best that it can be. So let's keep Hatfield. Special education is very close to my heart. I will continue to work closely with the key players to make sure that we're offering a wonderful special education program. I will see that our children are receiving what they need, especially as these past couple of years have affected so many of our kids in so many different ways. Whether your children are in elementary or up at the high school, please know that my children are right there with yours, or soon to be following in their footsteps. I am with you. I am invested in our children having top-notch education with a positive and healthy social experience to boot. I'm asking you to please come and vote for me, Danielle Staniszewski, on May 17th for school committee. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Sullivan and I'm running for a 3-year term on Hatfield School Committee. I just want to take the next few minutes of your time to address who I am, why I'm running for school committee, and in what ways do I feel I'm qualified to serve on school committee. First off, who am I? I was born and raised in Hatfield. I grew up on Bridge Street. I graduated from Smith Academy in 2000. From there I went on to the UMass Commonwealth College for 2 years and then transferred to the UConn School of Pharmacy. I graduated from UConn in 2006 and I've been practicing pharmacy in the area ever since. Primarily, I've worked in a retail setting, but in the last 6 months, I've switched and I am working in an inpatient hospital setting. Also a husband to my wonderful wife, Kim, and father to 2. I have my amazing son, Owen, who's 5 years old and finishing up preschool, and my adorable little daughter, Charlotte, who just turned 1 and has more energy than I could ever imagine possible. So why am I running for school committee? The simplest and easiest answer is I'm running for Owen and I'm running for Charlotte. I'm running to make sure that they have the educational opportunities that I had when I was here. I'm running to make sure that the education here remains robust and broad, that it gives them opportunities to grow and develop, and that at least it will give them a solid foundation from which to move forward wherever their lives may lead after graduation. Beyond that, when I walk around town here, I realize how privileged I was to be able to grow up here and how lucky I am to be able to move back here and raise my family here. Most people are not that fortunate in life. Hatfield has been very good to me over the years. The school system was fantastic for me growing up, and I've never truly given back, and it's time that I got involved. And when I think about ways in which I want to contribute, serving on school committee feels like the way in which I could have the greatest impact on my kids' lives and on our community as well. I have concerns for the future of our schools, and these are concerns that I've heard echoed from other parents and from students in town. One of the biggest ones is there's a declining school age population in town. When I go back to the neighborhood in which I grew up, there used to be kids all over the place. The neighborhood was teeming with kids. We were always playing basketball at my parents' driveway in the afternoon, wiffle ball in people's backyards, and in the summertime, there was neighborhood-wide hide and seek. Everyone's neighborhood was part of the game. Everyone's yard was part of the game. And when I go back to that neighborhood, there are no kids there now. And you can see this in other parts of town as well. There's just fewer kids. This is the result of decisions the town made decades ago, and it's something that we're going to have to come to terms with and address at some point. But as far as the school systems, it's something that needs to start being addressed now, because it's a problem now and it's going to be a bigger problem going forward. As I've talked to parents and students, I've also learned that there's been a loss of services in town over the past couple of years, and I would like to work to try to claw back some of those services if there's interest in them. Middle school sports has disappeared, French is being phased out, chorus is gone. There used to be a gifted and talented program in the elementary school called the Eagle's Nest, which apparently is gone. I'd like to learn what else is disappearing or just never was. And if there are programs that would benefit our students, if there's interest in them, we should do whatever we can to try to bring them back or bring them in to start to help our kids along. I've also heard some of the students express concern that some of their advanced placement classes may disappear because of lack of enrollment. And it's not that there's not kids that are interested in it, it's just there's not enough kids. And when there's not enough kids to have a very important program, then the kids who are remaining are just going to be left wanting for more, and we'll have let them down. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of a town that lets our kids down. I want to improve upon that. More specifically, I'm a rather science-minded guy, so I want to ensure that our kids have a robust science curriculum, including advanced placement classes. But more fundamentally, I want kids from elementary school all the way through the high school to have a robust basic understanding of biology, of chemistry, of physics. Something that's kind of reared its head in the last couple of years over the course of the pandemic is the lack of scientific literacy in our society, and this is something we need to address at an early age. But it's not just about what's important to me, it's about what's important to all of our students who are there now, the students who are coming up in the future, and their families and their parents. I can't just be narrowly focused on something that appeals to me. I want to engage with everyone to find out what's working for them, what's missing, what they want to bring in, and what they feel I should be focused on. I also want to be an advocate for our teachers. I had great relationships with most of my teachers throughout my educational experience here. It's a closeness that exists to this day with many of my former teachers, and it's something that you don't get in a larger school system. I sent a previous draft of this to one of my former English teachers, and I asked him to give this a once-over, and I got some prompt feedback. And I feel like if I was in a larger school system growing up, and I was just one of the many anonymous faces in a larger classroom, they wouldn't have known who I was. I wouldn't have had that chance to do that. I also want to be a sounding board for any thoughts or concerns or ideas from students or parents or teachers or the administration. I want to serve as a liaison between those interested parties to make sure that the lines of communication are open. Right now, it feels like communication between parents and teachers and administration and students is a bit broken, and I would like to work on trying to fix that. I'd like to start a greater conversation about the future of our schools, if not the future of our town. I'm hopeful that if I can get involved, I can encourage others to get involved as well. I think there's room for more thoughtful conversation at all levels of government, including in our small town. I would like to see, more listening, more understanding, less shouting. I'd like to see more compromise. I think it's a lost art that we need to get better at. One thing I've heard repeatedly as I go around town is people will come up and say, "Oh, I've heard of you, you're the mask guy," or "You're in favor of masking." And I just want to quickly address where this came from and what it might mean. When the Board of Health issued their ruling back at the beginning of this current school year to require masks in school, I reached out to them to say thank you for doing that. It was a decision in keeping with CDC recommendations. I believe in following guidelines. They're established by experts who know far more about, in this case, infectious diseases than I ever could. And they update and modify those guidelines as new information becomes available, in the same way that we should all modify our way of thinking on anything in life as we're presented with new facts and new information. I then supported school committee's decision to let the mask requirement end this spring. By then, vaccines were widely available for most of our students. COVID cases had dropped precipitously after the huge spike in the winter. I did ask school committee to consider keeping masks in place for the preschool, since most of them at that point, had not yet had the opportunity to get vaccinated because it's only for kids 5 and up so far. They listened to me, they heard me out, and they didn't agree with what I was presenting, and that's fine. But they did decide in the end to adopt DESI's guidelines going forward as their rules for making decisions on masking, and I fully support that. I think that's a great, clear-cut way on how to address the issue. So, am I qualified to serve on school committee? I have admitted I don't have any experience on any board or any committee in town, but I'm someone who's thoughtful and engaged and willing to listen. I am someone who will make rational, thoughtful, fact-based decisions. I'm professional. I have experience in management. I was a manager of a pharmacy for 6 or 7 years. I have experience as working as part of a team to try to achieve mutual goals. And in my profession, I have earned the respect of my peers. They know I'm someone that they can rely on, someone they can turn to for advice. They know I'm hardworking and I'm determined, and I will work to achieve the goal no matter what it takes. Thank you very much for hearing me out. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me and allowing me to make my case for school committee. I encourage you all to come out and vote on May 17th. And if you can't make it that day, go ahead and request an absentee ballot so that your voice is heard. But no matter what happens that day, no matter if the person you're voting for is elected or not, stay engaged, stay informed, follow the meetings for school committee, for Board of Health, for a select board, planning board. Get more involved in our wonderful little town. Try to get others involved, and if you're willing to step up and do a little bit more, step up and run for office. We need more voices. Thank you very much.
This concludes the candidate statements. Annual town meeting will be on the second Tuesday of May as usual, May 10th. However, it will start at 6:30 p.m. So please come early so many can get settled and we can start promptly out of respect for your time. Also, I've noticed that some bring a cushion for comfort. Just a suggestion as we have a lot to cover. This year, there's a lot of catching up to do with many important articles due to the very basic and slimmed down agenda of the past 2 years of getting through some very uncomfortable times. Thank you to all the boards and committees for their understanding during those times. Elections will be held on May 17th at the Town Hall. Again, our biggest obstacle is still communication. So go to the town website and sign up for e-alerts so any updates or changes will go right to your email or your phone. Please attend, as this is your town, and we must get this business behind us. As usual, I promise I will be respectful of the process, but we do move along to avoid any discomfort by all. A bit of getting back to normalcy will be good for all. Yet we will be considerate to all, as masks are absolutely welcome and each one's choice. Unless emergency planning needs to weigh in, after all, they're here to help protect us. Please mark your calendars and watch the town's website for any changing information, such as times the polls will be open. For our town clerk and election staff, this is a rather difficult time each year with the logistics. Let's continue to be safe, mindful, and kind always. Thank you, John Novak, for doing this for our town, and thanks for watching.